George Kaminski is Manager, Security Solutions Engineering over at Cisco. George, welcome. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
So I just pulled you basically off stage, upstairs. Part of the conversation that you had there was about artificial intelligence, new attack vectors. Talk me through state of the art right now. What was the nature of the discussion, sir?
Yeah, I think, one of the things that we pointed out was when we look at AI, leaders need to think about it from two perspectives. There's the third-party perspective and the first-party, and I'll define those. So when we think of third-party, we think of external tools that we're using and what are permissible and non-permissible for business and for operations. We have to be very careful about what those tools are. It could be ChatGPT, Grok as examples, Perplexity, some external tool that your IT organization has no governance over. So you have to restrict and have tools in place to protect against what the users can go to and what they can connect with, and also what they can prompt. For us, we call that at Cisco AI access. So protecting the access to external third-party systems, controlling the prompts, restricting and placing additional guardrails. For example, I could go on there, I'm doing some research, I'm a research and development shop, and I think I'm doing good and I'm trying to help the organization, but I post something that's proprietary up there. Well, now that becomes part of the data set that's externally searchable. So it's a data leak point. When you think about NIST and NIST standards, they emphasize data leakage as a concern. So having software in place like AI access or others to protect against that and control that is paramount. Second to that, we have first party. So first party is in-house tools that you're developing in-house, and they bring an entire different vulnerability set to them. The most common would be prompt injections, where I can inject and get AI to do things that perhaps shouldn't because the rules and guardrails are not in place for that. I could be dealing with poisoned data sets, poisoned LLMs, where there's malicious content in those, or they're biased in one direction to always give me a yes answer or no answer, so that's of concern. So you have to protect against those vulnerabilities. You also have to make sure that if you're dealing with plugins and third-party skills, they call them, they plug in through MCP, which is kind of like USB. It's like plugging in a new skill into the AI engine. And you need to make sure that that is protected as well, because those data sets could be compromised in some way. The MCP the actual interface for interfacing with those tools could be compromised. So protecting all of that, scanning it before running, scanning it at runtime becomes important. You also have to deal with things like hallucinations of confidence, where the AI is overconfident. If you prompt an AI and it will always give you an answer unless you tell it. If you don't know the answer, say you don't know the answer, right? So, those are some of the things that are vulnerabilities, because it'll try to conjure an answer that might not be right, and somebody might take that verbatim, which is of concern. And then I'll call it overconfident agentic AI, meaning overconfidence in agentic AI. We see that that's on the growth path. Agentic AI has a lot of benefits to it, but with that, you also need to bring additional policy and protections. You need to put more guardrails around that. You need to have an ability to audit that, to log what's happening, and to be able to roll back. It shouldn't make an incorrect choice, right?
Yeah. Flip this for me a little bit, George. Like, what capabilities are most needed in those two differentiated areas that you talked about, the third-party artificial intelligence and the first-party artificial intelligence? And what I mean by that is, if I'm building a capability from scratch, on site, it's internal and first-party, are the capabilities that I'm looking for there different from the ones where I go out to a third party and seek an AI solution off the shelf?
They are in several ways. When you're dealing with external AI, there's going to be a decision of, do I even allow the person to go there, yes or no? There's many different ways you can do that through next generation firewalls and application awareness, and just saying, hey, based on this signature, this is a request here. I'm not going to allow that particular chat application based on the signature, or AI application based on the signature that I have. You also have the ability to sort of proxy that connection where you can look inside and look at what the prompt is. So we're going to allow the user to use this chat, but we're going to govern what they can and can't do. And if we see they're starting to type something that's outside of what we're comfortable with, we're going to provide a warning that maybe they should use an internal system instead. So you require some capability there. We call that AI access, and that allows us to look in and have those controls. It's a little bit different when you're dealing with the first party AI, because now you have to look at all those other data sets. You have to have scanners that can look at preloading, before loading, runtime execution, and then what the post product is. Because you want to check, like if I have AI and it's generating code, I want to validate that code that it generated is good as well. And so we have capabilities around that in our AI defense solution, which does require that we be in between the AI so that we can look at what it's doing and again, control kind of the input and output. Because that's what you really want to know is, do I trust what the input is? Do I trust what the output is? And do I trust what the actions are that AI is going to take?